Welcome to SADAN-TV. The Titanic was a British luxury passenger liner that was built by the shipbuilding company Harland & Wolff in Belfast, Ireland, as part of a new, Olympic, class of liners for the White Star Line. The Titanic was designed to be the largest, most luxurious and safest ship of its time, with a length of 882 feet, a breadth of 92.5 feet, and a gross tonnage of 46,328 tons. The Titanic had 10 decks, 29 boilers, 3 propellers, 2 main steam engines and 1 auxiliary turbine engine, and could accommodate up to 2,435 passengers and 892 crew members in various classes of service. The Titanic also featured many amenities and facilities, such as a gymnasium, a swimming pool, a Turkish bath, a squash court, a library, a barber shop, a wireless telegraph room, 4 electric elevators, and several restaurants, cafes and lounges. The Titanic began its maiden voyage on April 10, 1912, from Southampton, England, with Captain Edward J. Smith in command. The Titanic stopped at Cherbourg, France, and Queenstown, now Cobh, Ireland, to pick up more passengers and mail before heading across the Atlantic Ocean towards New York City. The Titanic carried 2,240 people on board, including some of the wealthiest and most prominent people of the era, such as John Jacob Astor Ivy, Benjamin Guggenheim, Isidor Straus and his wife Ida, J. Bruce Ismay, the managing director of White Star Line, Thomas Andrews, the chief designer of Harland & Wolff, and Margaret Brown, later known as the unsinkable Molly Brown, for her efforts to help other survivors. On the night of April 14, 1912, the Titanic was sailing at a high speed of about 22 knots, 25 miles per hour, in calm weather conditions. At 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet spotted an iceberg directly ahead of the ship and alerted the bridge. First Officer William Murdoch ordered the ship to turn hard to port, left, and reverse the engines, but it was too late to avoid a collision. The Titanic struck the iceberg on its starboard, right, side, causing a series of punctures and tears along its hull that flooded 6 of its 16 watertight compartments. The damage was fatal. The Titanic was designed to stay afloat with up to 4 compartments flooded, but not 6. As water filled the lower decks, the ship began to tilt forward and sink. Captain Smith realized that the Titanic was doomed and ordered the crew to prepare the lifeboats and send out distress signals. However, there were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. The Titanic had only 20 lifeboats with a total capacity of 1,178 people, while the regulations at the time required only 16 lifeboats for a ship of its size. Moreover, many lifeboats were lowered before they were fully loaded due to confusion, panic and miscommunication among the crew and passengers. As a result, only 705 people were rescued by the lifeboats. The sinking of the Titanic took about 2 hours and 40 minutes. At around 2:20 a.m. on April 15, 1912, the Titanic broke apart into 2 sections and plunged into the depths of the ocean. More than 1,500 people died in the disaster, either by drowning or by freezing to death in the icy water. Many of those who perished were men from the lower classes who were either locked below decks or gave up their seats on the lifeboats for women and children. Some of those who died were also prominent figures who chose to stay with their spouses or go down with the ship rather than save themselves. Among them were Isidor and Ida Straus, the co-owner of Macy's department store and his wife, Benjamin Guggenheim, a millionaire businessman, Thomas Andrews, the chief designer of Harland & Wolff, Edward Smith, the captain of the Titanic, Wallace Hartley, the leader of the ship's band that played until the end, and many others. The survivors of the Titanic were picked up by the RMS Carpathia, a ship that responded to the Titanic's distress calls and arrived at the scene at around 4 a.m. The Carpathia took the survivors to New York City, where they arrived on April 18, 1912. The survivors faced various challenges and traumas after the disaster, such as coping with the loss of their loved ones, dealing with the media attention and public scrutiny, and seeking compensation and justice from the White Star Line and other parties involved in the tragedy. The sinking of the Titanic shocked and saddened the world and became a symbol of the fragility of human life and the dangers of technological hubris. The Titanic also sparked many changes in maritime safety regulations, such as requiring enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew, establishing an international ice patrol to monitor iceberg activity, and improving wireless communication and coordination among ships. The Titanic also inspired countless books, articles, films, musicals and other works of art that explored its history, legacy and cultural impact. The wreck of the Titanic was not discovered until 1985, when a joint American-French expedition led by Robert Ballard and Jean-Louis Michel located it at a depth of about 12,500 feet, 3,800 meters, in the North Atlantic. Since then, many expeditions have visited and explored the wreck site, recovering artifacts, conducting scientific research and documenting its condition. The wreck of the Titanic is gradually deteriorating due to natural and human factors, such as corrosion, marine life, underwater currents and salvage operations. The future of the wreck site is uncertain and controversial, as some people advocate for its preservation and protection as a historical and memorial site, while others argue for its exploration and exploitation as a source of information and revenue. Thanks for watching.